So, what is the astral? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about my viewpoints on it, and let's explain a little bit so everyone knows. So, first and foremost, computer. And we're going to go on lovely Wikipedia for a little standard definition of what is the astral. Then I'll give my viewpoints and thoughts on it. So, the astral plane is also called the astral world. It is a plane of existence postulated by classical, particularly Neoplatonic, medieval Oriental, and esoteric philosophies and mysterious religions. It is the world of these celestial spheres, crossed by the soul and its astral body on the way to being born and after death. It is generally believed to be populated by angels, spirits, or other immaterial beings. In the late 19th and 20th century, the term was popularized by theosophy and neo-reocularism. I can't say that word. Another beholds that the astral plane or world, rather than being some kind of boundary area crossed by the soul, is the entirety of the spiritual existence or spirit worlds to which those who die on earth go, and where they live out their non-physical lives. Some writers conflate this realm with heaven or paradise or union with God itself, and others do not. Basically, there's a whole bunch of different things of what the astral can mean. In my idea of the astral, I believe that the astral plane, or planes is really what more of I think of it, is just that. It is not necessarily a crossing between this and the afterlife so much it is a whole, it is almost the access point, like the in-between to all of the other dimensions and planes. At least that's how I see it. And being that way, we can connect to it in a multitude of different ways. You can connect to it through dreams, I think, is definitely one way where you're accessing other planes of existence or the astral. There are times through deep meditations you can, of course, easily access it. I honestly think sometimes even the imagination alone, the daydreams, you are accessing another reality or a part beyond the astral, or the astral is your connection to a different part of your reality that is giving you that other option. You're tapping into that. When you're hearing characters as a creative, I believe that you are tapping into the astral and connecting to another dimension or reality or what have you, plane of existence, and they're giving you these ideas. It is that connection that actually triggers a lot of things. That's my personal belief on it. So if that is what the astral is, then how do you connect to it in some extent? And I think a lot of what it is just disconnecting from this plane. What I do a lot of times is simply, like, we do that easily with dreams, right? So you go to sleep and you are not of your physical body. Your body is resting, but I don't think your soul or your mind necessarily does. It can in some respects, and then that's where we have dreams. You are going off while your body is resting into the astral, into the beyond. It is seeing something else. Also, the idea of daydream too, when you zone out for a minute and you're not here, like you can see it all within your mind's eye. That is another connection to the astral, at least for me. You are spacing out and doing that. That's what imagination and all of that is connecting to something beyond, I guess, in a sense. It is a reflection. I honestly think that a lot of stuff that even happens within our own minds, that this could be a whole nother portal and connection to something grander than us, or something that is more vast and has a lot more options and things. So a lot of what I do when I'm trying to, I don't know, get my head up in the clouds, per se, is just to kind of not take stock of my surroundings and let my mind wander. As a creative person, I naturally kind of just zone out and go off and connect with other things. I tap into that a lot with, of course, as being a writer and tapping into another world, or daydreaming, or, you know, just kind of zoning out for a minute and I'm off somewhere else. And a lot of how I do it is just, you lose connection for a second. You aren't thinking about things in this existence. You kind of just let your mind be, and then when it is pulling you into something in particular, I let my mind do that. And I've done that since I was very, very young. I used to always have to have it triggered with motion of some sense, and I guess it's because I'm moving through the astral. I feel the need to have a certain amount of motion in my body to trick my mind into understanding that, yeah, no, we're here, so I don't constantly get pulled back to this one, because I can feel the stillness. So when I meditate sometimes, if you haven't watched my meditation video, I'll pop that up here, down here, wherever it goes. But I am taking stock of the reality around me. I'm seeing, what does my skin feel like? What does the air feel like? What do I smell? What do I hear? What do I taste? Like, things like that. I'm grounding myself with my senses in this plane. Versus when I want to, say, meditate into the astral, I am deliberately trying to feel something that I don't normally feel or couldn't feel in the situation. So I had mentioned before in a lot of my journeys that things start with water, just because the feeling of wet for me is a very cemented, yes, I feel that. I know what wet feels like, and I know what it doesn't feel like as comparison to dry skin. So I imagine it raining. I can put on a sound machine or music that has some sort of water-ish thing in the background, and I can zone out to that and then suddenly start to imagine the water on my skin, and eventually that will trigger something enough to where I feel the wet. Even though it's not here in this existence, I can feel the water. And when the water then shifts out, suddenly I am not here anymore. I can zone out, I can move around, and I can explore the astral in full without getting pulled back all the time because I'm not thinking about what senses are currently going on here. And the motion, I don't know, something helps with that as well. I used to swing a bunch as a kid, and they even continued all the way up until I was 18, 19, and then I moved on to like doing like a rocking chair, and now I like to go on walks and zone out. I'm really, really bad. Do not do this, people. Do as I say, not as I do. I zone out to driving a lot because it is the repetitive motion of my daily commute where suddenly I'm driving and the music's on and it's blasting and something just triggers in my mind and I'm somewhere else now. And then I end up at work and I'm like, how did I get here? I'm not entirely sure. Thank God for autopilot. That's dangerous. Don't do that. Don't do that while you're driving. But that motion, I definitely can suddenly zone out and start thinking about other things and suddenly be somewhere else and have a really great spiritual experience once I'm in motion. So that's why a lot of times I like to go on walks with like headphones in, so it's like the sounds of this plane can't trigger and pull me back, but I can do that a lot. So that is what the astral is and how I really connect with it on an easy basis. I just got used to having something, whether it be, you know, is there a particular smell maybe that wouldn't be in an environment that you know that you could just like think you're smelling it. Think of how that smells to the point of you almost freaking smell it. It's in your nostrils right now. And then use it as a shifting point to pick up on things that are outside of this existence at the moment. I use water a lot. I feel like that's very just like, water feels like a really big portal to me in some senses. You could use other touch, other sensations that you aren't currently feeling, or different sounds, different smells, even taste something, like imagine sweetness coming into your mouth. I think that might be helpful. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do with it. Comment down below how you think the astral is, if you think I'm absolutely crazy, if you're like, that's not how the astral works at all. I know some people think the astral is almost like levels, like there's 7 levels of it and you have to like ascend through certain levels, or the astral is the portal to get to those levels of like ascended consciousness, understanding the different barriers and levels and things like that. I think it's much more different planes of existence. I definitely think that there is a connected thread or a highway type of deal through some of it. Like that's what I feel kind of the astral is in a sense, where you tap into something and then you are sent off somewhere else, as opposed to like just a straight transition at times. Sometimes I do a straight transition because it's like a place I go a lot, so like what I find is like my inner sanctum, this place that I have built of all me, that I talk about a lot when I say I'm experiencing and visiting the astral. But then there's other times where I visit other places, like I went to the underworld and I could tell that I was seeing other goddesses or other spirits, or there was something else that I was picking up on that felt outside of myself. Even if possibly it's not outside of myself. It could be just higher reflections of different connections I'm feeling of other people, but it felt separate in that sense. So I can tell when I'm seeing different places and other places, whereas when I'm kind of coming back to the same place that just doesn't have the same rules that is in this plane of existence or reality. Anyway, comment down below your things in the astral, how you feel it works, if this was helpful for you or not. I basically just want to come on because I know I talk about the astral a lot. But anyway, like and subscribe to this video if you're all about it. I am on the lovely interwebs at Shadow Harvest, on the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagram, all of that. I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.